On April 1st, a door will appear, and in this room lies a witch. Here, lies can become reality. Burned at the stake, proclaiming that she is a witch. This was her only lie, and because of this, a god decided to make it reality. People come to her room for a multitude of reasons, but not all who come require a wish, such as the two girls who showed up because one of them wanted to prove to the other that there was a witch. The vampire princess May, who spent a day with April and telling her that one day even the one that cursed her will die. She also had a familiar for a short time, an invisible dog who eventually learned to forgive its master. She had one more visitor. We'll get to that one at the end. She did meet a suitor who wanted her to have his child, and she did. The child grew and learned fast, but the desire to leave the room, and the father, worried being a child of a witch, he himself chose to leave as well. She also encountered a witch hunter who wounded and defiled her body, putting her heart in a box and burning it. Well, meanwhile, there are those who suffered for the wishes that they made, such as the old man who gained sight back, saw something very dreadful, deciding to never open them again. Others came to her to vent or for their own self-satisfaction, such as the holy man who only wanted to make children laugh, who had nothing left to give. Eventually, leaving the room, had True being named a saint, but died a lonely life. There was also a sick woman who had nowhere to go and thus wanted to die. April offered to help her, but accepted what the woman wanted and let the woman die. A merchant came to her door and tried to sell her stuff as his pride as a greatest merchant in the world, and she eventually gave in and bought all his stuff. As compensation, he had to suffer all the world's misfortune and suffering, leaving the room like a living ghost. A quack proclaiming her to be sick, and he ended up leaving the room as a mass of hair, nails, and assortment of other things. An artist who desired to create a fantastic piece, but through his time with her, realizing this was a mistake, and he decided to make the best piece he could make, even if it took his entire life to make it. The reader visited her, but nothing of note really happened. What would you have wished for, if anything, and why? The last person she would ever meet, known as the Fool, one who had no wish, but visited her many times over the years, until one day he decided to tell a lie. The one lie that saves the world. He was the last human, that the world has crumbled, no calendar has any meaning anymore, and that his grave will be outside in case she ever wants to visit. And the next day, April finally leaves her room, but to a different world. People are immortal. They have the ability to grant their own wishes, and now she is the same as everybody else in the world. No longer the witch, just the girl April. She goes to the man's grave, holding his favorite flower, as we see animals nearby her, as well as what are presumed to be two girls in the distance. If you like this video, then I recommend you watch my Francesca video to learn more about her, because she was one of April's victims.